Do you really believe that facing a manipulator with truth and good faith is an act of courage? Think again. That is not the courage of a warrior. It is the naivety of a victim.
Do you think morality is your armor? I regret to tell you, in the game of power, morality is nothing more than the blanket that covers the losers. You are about to unlearn everything society taught you about justice. In this video, you will understand why your most honest reaction is exactly what your enemy expects. Pay attention, because this might be your first and perhaps your only chance to move from being the meal at the table to becoming the one who sets the table. When you are deceived, your first instinct, the sting of betrayal, the burning anger of injustice, drives you to react. You want to expose the lie, to prove you are right, to show how hurt you are. But listen carefully. This authenticity you call honesty is the very gift your deceiver was waiting for. Why? Because the moment you react, you surrender control of the narrative. Machiavelli warned us centuries ago, never give your enemy the satisfaction of your raw emotions, because the moment you explode, the moment you reveal that you are hurt, the moment you expose your inner storm, you hand over the keys to your own cage. Understand this clearly. The manipulator's greatest weapon is not their strength, not their intelligence, not even their lies. Their greatest weapon is your reaction. You see, they don't have to defeat you with logic. They don't have to overpower you with truth. They simply have to provoke you until you defeat yourself. And that is exactly what most people do. They hear a lie and they rush to correct it. They feel attacked and they rush to defend themselves. They feel betrayed and they rush to expose their wounds. But Machiavelli would call this a fatal mistake. Why? Because in that rush, in that desperate attempt to prove innocence or reclaim dignity, you lose what little power you had left. When you react instantly, you become predictable. And predictability is weakness. A manipulator only has to push the same button over and over again, and you will always perform the same dance. They don't need chains. They don't need threats. They don't need proof. Your reaction makes you their puppet, and the strings are invisible. Think about it. Why do liars smirk when you shout at them? Why do deceivers stay calm while you lose control? Why do manipulators seem to grow stronger the more emotional you become? It's because they know something you don't. Your emotions are not weapons in this game. They are vulnerabilities. They are tells. They are signals that reveal exactly how to break you. They want you loud. They want you desperate. They want you to start explaining yourself, because the longer you explain, the guiltier you look. The louder you scream, the weaker you sound. And the more you react, the easier it is to steer you exactly where they want you to go. Do you know why trials are won, not by the one who is right, but by the one who controls the narrative? Because in the theater of power, perception is stronger than truth. A calm liar will always look more convincing than an emotional truth teller. A composed manipulator will always appear more trustworthy than a victim who cannot control their rage. This is why reaction is weakness, because reaction belongs to the enemy. It reveals to them what you fear, what you love, what you cannot live without. And once they know that, they own you. Now here is the cruel paradox. Silence terrifies manipulators more than rage ever could. They know how to handle your shouting. They know how to handle your accusations. They even know how to handle your tears. But what they cannot handle, what unsettles them to their core, is your refusal to play their game. Imagine this. They attack you and you do not defend yourself. They insult you and you do not react. They try to provoke you and you remain still, unreadable, almost bored. This is not weakness. This is psychological warfare, because the manipulator expects you to dance to their tune, and when you don't, the silence becomes unbearable. Silence is not submission, it is control. Composure is not passivity, it is dominance. A cold stare is more frightening than 1,000 angry words. A calm smile in the face of betrayal is more powerful than any outburst. Why? Because it signals something they cannot fight. Self-mastery. Cynicism is not cruelty. Cynicism is not emotional numbness. Cynicism is self-defense. It is the art of refusing to give your enemies the script they desperately need you to follow. Cynicism is the voice inside that whispers, they are not attacking you because they are right. They are attacking you because they want you to react. Don't give them that gift. Let me repeat this. The manipulator's victory is not in the deception itself. Their victory is in your reaction to the deception. When you rage, you confirm their power. When you beg, you confirm their control. When you explain, you confirm their narrative. So what is the alternative? You become unreactive. You become unreadable. You stop trying to prove and you start observing. You stop shouting and you start calculating. You stop being a participant in their theater and you become the director of your own. Because here is the Machiavellian truth. The one who controls the pace of the game controls the outcome of the game. If they control your reactions, they control you. But if you control your silence, if you control your timing, if you control your words, then suddenly they are the ones exposed. And that is why you must train yourself to resist the temptation to react. When you feel anger rise, pause. When you feel betrayal burn, breathe. When you feel the urge to prove yourself, remember, you prove nothing by reacting. You only prove that you can be manipulated. Learn this now. Your silence is a weapon. Your composure is a sword. Your cynicism is your armor. So what does it actually mean to be cynical? Most people misunderstand this word. They think cynicism is bitterness, negativity, or a kind of hopelessness about life. But Machiavelli would laugh at that interpretation. True cynicism is not about giving up, it's about seeing clearly. To be cynical means you stop assuming people are motivated by honesty, morality, or noble intentions. Instead, you assume they are motivated by self-interest. Always. That simple shift in perspective changes everything. Because once you understand that self-interest rules all human behavior, you stop taking betrayal personally. You stop being shocked by hypocrisy. You stop being devastated by broken promises. You stop asking, why would they do this to me? And instead you ask, what did they gain by doing this? And that is the difference between the naive and the powerful. The naive person expects honesty and feels crushed when dishonesty appears. The cynical person expects dishonesty, and therefore he is never surprised. Now ask yourself, who has the advantage in this world? The one who is constantly surprised, constantly hurt, constantly trying to reconcile idealism with reality, or the one who expected manipulation from the beginning and has already prepared the counter-strategy? Cynicism doesn't make you bitter. It makes you calm. It makes you steady. It makes you prepared. Because when you expect betrayal and it happens, you don't fall apart. You simply nod because you saw it coming. And when you saw it coming, you don't react emotionally, you act strategically. This is why cynicism is not poison. It is medicine. It is the antidote to manipulation. It is the hidden weapon that allows you to walk through a world full of liars and never lose your balance. Think about the cynical thinker. He does not shout. He does not beg. He does not defend his honor like a child desperate for approval. Why? Because he knows honor is not a shield. It is a story written by the winners. And Machiavelli taught us, history does not care who was right, only who survived. When you adopt cynicism, you stop fighting to be right and you start fighting to win. You stop wasting energy proving your innocence to those who already decided your guilt, and you start conserving energy for the moves that actually matter. Machiavelli himself wrote that it is better to be feared than loved. But what few people notice is that sometimes it is even better to be underestimated. Why? Because underestimation is camouflage. People ignore you, dismiss you, and lower their guard until the moment you strike. And cynicism is what keeps you underestimated. When you are cynical, you don't reveal your outrage, you don't reveal your wounds, you don't reveal your moral outrage. Instead, you observe quietly. You collect information. You map the weaknesses of others while they believe you are harmless. And then, when the time is right, you strike with precision. Imagine two players at the chessboard. One is naive. He thinks the game is about fairness, honesty, and respect. The other is cynical. He knows the game is about winning. Who will prevail? The naive player will announce his every move, exposing his plans. The cynical player will remain quiet, wait, and then sacrifice one piece to trap the king. This is the game of life, and those who play it cynically are never shocked, never blindsided, never weak. They expect nothing but self-interest, and so they are never disarmed by disappointment. Cynicism does not mean paranoia. It does not mean seeing monsters where none exist. It simply means this: assume self-interest is the true engine of human behavior, and you will never again be surprised by betrayal. This is the hidden weapon Machiavelli gave us. Not cruelty, not deception for its own sake, but the clarity to see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. And once you see clearly, you can finally act with power. So how do you turn cynicism into a weapon in the real world? Let's strip away the illusions. Cynicism is not about pessimism. It's not about cruelty. It's about control. It's about refusing to be the fool who thinks sincerity alone wins wars. Wars, whether on the battlefield or in the boardroom, are won with calculation, patience, and an unshakable understanding of human nature. Here's how you apply it step by step. In conversations, the cynical player listens more than he speaks, while the naive person rushes to fill the silence, to prove himself, to reveal his intentions. The cynical one simply observes. He asks short, sharp questions, then retreats into silence. And in that silence, the truth leaks out. People reveal themselves when they are desperate to be understood. They give away their ambitions, their weaknesses, their insecurities. The one who listens wins. In conflict, Machiavelli warned that the first person to lose composure always loses the game. When someone insults you, betrays you, or tests you, the instinct is to explode. But cynicism teaches restraint. Delay your reaction. Breathe. The one who reacts first shows their hand, their anger, their fears, their wounds. The one who waits forces the opponent to act blindly. In a duel of emotions, patience is the sharpest blade. Remember, silence terrifies manipulators more than rage. Composure disarms them more than accusations ever could. In relationships, cynicism does not kill intimacy, but it protects it. Stop giving unlimited access to your time, your attention, your emotions. Why? Because abundance breeds contempt, but scarcity breeds value. When you are always available, you are taken for granted. When you create distance, you create mystery. People begin to notice your absence. They lean toward you. They chase. The cynical thinker understands that love, like power, is sustained not by endless giving, but by controlled scarcity. In power games, this is where cynicism becomes art. Never show your full hand. The naive leader brags about his plans, his dreams, his strategies. The cynical one keeps layers of deception. He lets people think they have figured him out, while in reality, he is calculating 3 moves ahead. This is not paranoia. This is survival. If others believe they know your limits, your weaknesses, or your strategies, they will feel safe. And it is in that false safety that they make fatal mistakes. The cynical approach does not mean you abandon morality. It means you understand morality as a language, one that others may use to control you. When someone appeals to your sense of justice, when they beg you to be fair, understand what is really happening, they are not appealing to truth, they are appealing to your predictability. The cynical man breaks free from this script. He does not allow guilt or innocence to be used as chains. He measures every situation not by right and wrong, but by strength and weakness. Cynicism, then, is not cruelty. Cruelty is reckless. Cynicism is precise. Cruelty destroys without purpose. Cynicism chooses carefully when to act, when to retreat, and when to strike. It is the refusal to be a pawn in someone else's narrative. It is the discipline of knowing that in the theater of power, those who speak less, react slower, and reveal nothing hold the real advantage. So understand this. Being cynical is not about becoming cold. It's about becoming untouchable. It's not about closing your heart. It's about guarding it. It's not about rejecting morality. It's about mastering it as one of many tools in the game. And in a world where everyone is trying to provoke, manipulate, and deceive, cynicism may be the only shield sharp enough to turn defense into offense. That is how you transform cynicism from a mindset into a weapon. Not by hiding in bitterness, but by using it as strategy. So here's the truth most people will never accept. Morality is not your shield. It is your leash. If you want to survive the manipulator's world, you must stop being silly. Stop believing that justice, honesty, or raw emotion will protect you. Start being cynical. Start expecting betrayal. Start seeing self-interest as the real currency of human behavior. This is not pessimism. This is power. Because once you stop reacting, you begin controlling. Once you stop expecting fairness, you start playing strategically. And once you stop being food at the table, you finally take your place at the game of power. If this message woke something inside you, comment below, no more illusions? Subscribe now, because in the next video, we will go even deeper into Machiavelli's forbidden psychology of survival and dominance. This is The Last Thinker. And remember, the world doesn't reward the honest. It rewards the prepared.